Okay, hey, what's going on, you guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Fortnite Mythbusters. The support on these videos has been unreal recently, but on top of the Fortnite Mythbusters, I'm gonna start doing a lot more gameplay videos, so that's something to look forward to. Anyways, just like always, if you do have a myth you would like me to test in the next or future episodes of the Fortnite Mythbusters, make sure to go down in the comments and drop a comment of that myth for a pretty good chance to be featured. Also, we are on the road to 1.1 million subscribers, so if you have not already, make sure to subscribe and turn on those post notifications to never miss another Fortnite Mythbusters episode. And lastly, let's see if we could smash 25,493 likes on today's episode. That would be insane. Also, if you have not already, make sure to head over to Nexiph.com to pick yourself up some limited edition Nexiph merch. Anyways, without further ado, let's get right on in to today's video. Starting us off, jumping straight into the first myth. The first myth is what happens when you throw a porta fort into a real vault here in chapter 2 season 4. So about a month or two ago, I actually released a video of me throwing a porta fort into a vault, and it did extremely well. I think it got like 1.7 million views, which is insane. In that video, I actually didn't throw the porta fort into a legitimate vault. It was actually in creative mode, and I basically simulated the vault with all the same features that a real one has. Now that porta forts are finally in the public game, I decided let's try it one more time and see what happened. When I threw the porta fort into the vault, it actually, was the exact same as the simulated version we did a couple months ago. The walls of the porta fort actually replaced the walls of the vault, but in this case the side walls were actually still there. They were kind of bugging out. It was like two walls in one, which was kind of weird, and it still wouldn't even allow me to edit the walls. But the interesting thing is that the porta fort up on the surface, it actually continued building the porta fort like it did back in when we tested it out previously. This is something pretty cool to know, and it's good to see that my simulation actually was the exact same as the real game. Going into the next myth, is, does Midas's golden touch affect Silver's surfboard or even Groot's ball? Now, I'm sure all of you guys know what Midas does. You guys know that whenever he picks up a weapon or gets into a vehicle, the vehicle will have a golden wrap. So a lot of people are wondering, maybe that golden wrap will affect Silver's surfboard or even Groot's ball, because Midas, if you don't know, he would actually affect the baller. When I tried this out, it was actually most difficult trying to find Silver's surfboard as well as Groot's ball, but after searching for a very long time, I managed to get both items, and Midas did not affect any of them in any way. Silver's surfboard, when I glided through the air, it was still in its bright silver, bright silver color that it usually does. There was no gold anywhere on it whatsoever. I even used the power up twice to see maybe if the Midas wrap glitch was affecting it, but it was still silver. And the same exact thing goes for Groot's baller. The only thing golden in that is Midas himself, and the entire rest of the baller is like that tumbleweed look. Going into the next myth, the next myth is what happens when you drive a car into a rift. Now, this myth was actually very easy to do. Right next to Frenzy Farm, there's actually a rift that is just hanging out in the air. So when I tried this myth out, I built a ramp up to the rift. I then got into a car and literally drove directly into it. Now, I was actually pretty shocked to see that you actually did teleport up into the air, and the car was at max build limit and just fell all the way straight down to the ground. You have plenty of time to do many flips. You're just hanging out in midair and you don't take any fall damage. We learned that in the previous episode of the Fortnite Mythbusters. Even if you land upside down, you won't take any fall damage unless you jump out of the car. Then obviously you're dead. But I guess taking a rift is a good way to maybe escape someone. If you have Silver surfboard, then you could hop in a car, go through the rift, and then when you're in midair, hop out of the car and you can redeploy your glider or a Silver surfboard. Going into the next myth, and surprisingly a highly requested myth, this myth is what happens when you boogie bomb a shark while it is in the air coming to bite you. Will it float in the air and stay there, or will it land on the ground? Will it not be affected? What exactly happens? So in the last episode, we actually boogie bombed a shark, and we noticed that the shark would not move one bit when he has the boogie bomb effect. The disco stays above its head, and it will just stay on the ground just chilling. When I did that myth, I actually boogie bombed the shark while it was on the ground crawling around, or just flopping around trying to get to me, but I never tested to see what happens if I boogie bomb in mid-air. Since he freezes on the floor, will he freeze in midair? I tried this myth out though multiple times. I placed a wall, I waited for the shark to jump towards me, and as soon as he was in the air getting pretty close to me, I threw the boogie bomb, and the boogie bomb effect went off while he was clearly in the air, but the shark kept falling. But as soon as he landed, he had the boogie bomb effect and would not move one bit. I'm gonna be honest, it would be pretty sick though to see the shark just floating in midair while he has a boogie bomb effect, but that's certainly not the case. Going into the next myth, and another Groot's ball myth. This myth is what happens happens when you get boogie bombed while you're riding inside a Groot's ball. Now this is actually something that might happen to you in a real game. I've seen a whole ton of players recently actually using the boogie bombs, and they're a little bit overpowered, I'm not gonna lie. I've died a few times just because I've been stuck dancing and they get a 200 headshot on me. If you have the Groot's power up ball, you could use that to get away, but if someone does throw a boogie bomb at you, you'll be surprised at what happens. When the boogie bomb makes contact with you, or it's within the distance for you to start dancing and actually have the boogie bomb effect, it will kick you out of Groot's ball immediately, and you'll be vulnerable. You'll just be in the open dancing until someone deals damage to you, where you then you can build again. So maybe next time, if you're rotating through the middle of the map, if you play Fortnite competitively, or you're in an endgame with a whole ton of players and you're rotating through everybody, if someone has a boogie bomb, you're literally screwed. There's no way you're gonna come back from that one if you do get hit by it. Going into the next myth, and actually a really good myth. I'm surprised I haven't done this one yet. This myth is, can you shoot and explode a gas can that is in someone's hand? Now the gas cans have been in the game for a pretty long time, and if you guys don't know already, when there is a gas can on the ground and you shoot it, it will actually light on fire and eventually explode. You could use this to light campfires, which we learned in the previous episode, as well as just deal damage to structures, light builds on fire, all of that good stuff. Now we tested all of that when the gas can was actually just sitting on the ground, so a lot of people are wondering maybe if someone is holding it, it might be the same or even a different outcome. When I tried this myth out in game, I tried at both angles. I had myself holding the gas can, I also had my friend holding the gas can. In this case, in the very first clip, my friend was holding it. I shot it out of his hand, and he immediately dropped it. It then lit on fire and then exploded like how a regular gas can would if it was just chilling on the ground. And as expected, this is the exact same thing that happens if you're carrying the gas can. I decided just to toss this clip in though, just so you guys could see maybe what it looks like from this point of view. I did not drop it, it automatically dropped by itself. Going into another myth that revolves around boogie bombs as well as sharks. This myth is, what happens when you get boogie bombed while you're riding a shark? Now honestly, there is so much hype about riding these sharks. You use a fishing rod and then it's basically like a vehicle, but since there's hardly any water on the map, nobody even does this anymore. I mean, it's hard enough to even find a shark in the first place. But this myth is always a possibility, so it's something that I definitely had to test for you guys and see what exactly happened. When I tried this, I basically caught myself a shark. It was actually the hardest thing to find. The boogie bombs were pretty easy. The shark was difficult to find, but I got lucky enough to find one. I then basically controlled the shark all the way up right next to the land where my friend then threw the boogie bomb, and I was on his team, so it would also be the exact same thing, if I was an enemy player to him. And my player started dancing, but I was still able to control the shark, and I was able to move around, jump. My player was just doing the dancing animation while on the skis and holding the fishing rod. Going into a next myth, and I'm surprised we haven't done this myth yet in a previous episode. This myth is, if someone picks up a gun and when it hovers over their head for that split second, can you harpoon it and pull it to your inventory? Now this is something I'm sure a lot of you may have not noticed. Whenever you pick up a weapon in a real game, or an enemy or your teammate picks up a weapon, the weapon will actually hover above your head for just a split second, and then it'll go into your inventory. So can you harpoon that weapon and actually just steal it before they actually get it? I attempted this myth for a very long time, multiple attempts, even with different types of weapons, a pump shotgun, a scoped AR, weapons of different rarities, but I never managed to actually pull the weapon to myself after they already picked it up, and it was doing that animation hovering above their head. I'm not gonna lie, that would be pretty overpowered and pretty lucky though. Going into the next myth, and surprisingly a highly requested myth. This myth is, what happens when Stark robots meet Boss Dr. Doom? So I tried doing this myth two ways. The first way, I actually hacked the Starks, that way they were on my team, and brought them all the way over to Boss Dr. Doom, where I was actually pretty surprised that both of them would actually fight each other. It was like a 50-50, if you guys remember Boss Midas versus I think it was Meowscles back then. Both of them fought. It was basically the exact same way. Dr. Doom just has a slight advantage because of his power up. I also brought Dr. Doom to a set of these Stark robots who have not been hacked already. They were just kind of chilling, and they actually allowed Boss Dr. Doom to live. I mean, they just kind of let him bleed out, but they would not focus onto him. We even flew away, looked back, and Dr. Doom was just going on his own way, and then eventually bled out and died. But it's still pretty cool to see. I've never seen the Stark robots actually meet a boss yet, and this was definitely a first. Anyways, that's gonna wrap it up for today's episode. I hope you have enjoyed. If you have, make sure to leave a like and also subscribe to the channel if you are new. Turn on those post notifications to never miss another Fortnite Mythbusters episode, and I will see you guys next time.